wasn't going to record too much today because, I don't know, been having computer problems at home, which makes assembling longer videos kind of a dicey situation, but I don't think I've ever been on this little stretch of sidewalk or roadway along the FDR approaching the Williamsburg Bridge, which is about a half-mile up. And here's a park next to me. I didn't catch the name of it. And there's a community garden along the side here. If I had been here, I do not remember. I got myself a 7-day unlimited Metro card, so I should be using that to bop all over town for the next week or so. No matter how much I end up on the subway, I always still end up walking and walking and walking. And that's all right. That's all right. That's more than all right. Somehow the side of a busy, noisy highway like this doesn't seem like a place I'd go to commune with nature, if that's what this woman is doing up here, but maybe my standards need to be adjusted. Coming up on Cherry Street. Don't even get me started on these things, by the way. I think I've said plenty about them in the past. These are the nearly useless, nearly unused emergency red call boxes. The city cannot get rid of them. You'll find one. They come in various shapes and sizes and styles, but you should find one every 2 or 3 blocks. The city tried to get rid of them, but the district judge for the Southern District of New York wouldn't let the city get rid of them because they had not provided a suitable alternative for speech-impaired people to report emergencies. So speech impaired or mute people are trained to use something called the tapping system to report a fire or a crime or whatever. And 911 dispatchers are trained to recognize that tapping pattern. The city, the reason this crossed my radar is a long time ago now, but the city's rather specious argument, specious defense was that the speech impaired people like that could use payphones. This was like around, I don't know, this was during the Giuliani administration. And even then, payphones were being removed at a pretty rapid clip. And how the city expected the judge not to know that was surprising. But whatever the case, because they presented such a weak argument saying that they didn't have to provide a suitable alternative for the speech impaired, they're now stuck maintaining and paying for these things for like forever, and they cost millions and millions of dollars a year. Some people like to assume that LinkNYC is paid for by taxpayers, and that's a fallacy that does not seem that it will ever be shaken, that people are going to continue to believe that, but it's really not paid for at all by taxpayers, unless there's the administrative oversight from Do It and all that, but that's a drop in the bucket. What we are paying for is those emergency derelict, unused, and unneeded emergency red call boxes. And look at this, somebody threw out a digital piano. Suzuki, I guess. I've used nothing but Roland's, but next time I'm probably going Yamaha. Next time meaning when I have money again, which doesn't seem to be anytime soon. Looks like somebody moved out and left their shit behind, or died, or somewhere in between. Everything since Cherry Street has been far more familiar territory for me. I didn't recognize that early part of this video along FDR Drive, but it might be the community garden. Maybe that wasn't there before, or maybe I just never been there, but here's a very familiar site that I'm going to get closer to. Of dead phones on I think this is still called the East River Park. Let's see if I'm right. Once I know where to find them, it becomes like a form of Tourette's. It's like I either have to go see them or I have to remember the exact spot where they used to be. And I can't restrain the mental tick. it's not just the East River Park, it's the John V. Lindsay East River Park, named for the mayor who couldn't shovel snow. I think that's in reference to a plan that was later scuttled to basically close the East River Park for a very long time, or else just torch it all together and put up a bunch of high-income housing. The old landline. I'm surprised that hasn't been cut. This phone's probably been dead for 15 years. Wow, it goes all the way back there. I guess that's still the same cable. I need to look this up to remind myself, because I remember hearing about this a lot a few years ago. here's a bit of trivia that will probably never be asked at your pub trivia or on Trivial Pursuit or anywhere else. And that question is, what is the highest numbered street building in Manhattan? And I'm happy to be wrong, but I'll bet you it's 905 East 6th Street. If you know New York at all, you know that the street numbers, which run east to west, start from 1 at 5th Avenue and they increase each way from there to the east and the west. I believe 905 to be the highest one. But I mean, it would never be on a trivia question because who the hell would know that, right? Except maybe the people who live here, but do they even care? Well, here we are again. Another abandoned relic, or I suppose I could call it a vestige. Except I guess a vestige of a payphone past would be little more than the indentation in the ground where it was, or the shadow of it that's left by its absence on a wall or whatever. So this is a little different. This is just a pedestal that they yanked the phone out of and moved on. 10th Street at FDR Highway at the Riis Houses. I believe this is on my website somewhere, but because I have absolutely been down this way before, and I never miss a payphone. I never miss a payphone. Happy to say I've been hearing a lot less of that. That may be with the eeriest sounds of this, of the whole pandemic. It just seemed like every 20 minutes another siren, another ambulance siren would wail by. But it's over, for now at least. Last Monday there was not a single death, single COVID-related death in the whole state. Or maybe that was just the city. Whatever, it was a milestone of sorts. I think I'm going to get off this noisy FDR and get back to someplace where I don't have to yell just to hear myself thinking. Well, looks like I have to turn back anyway, doesn't it? Looks like Con Ed, I guess. Private property, no trespassing. Elmer Fudd comes after you. And there's a classic abandoned emergency call box. Alrighty then. Let's revisit this beautiful stretch of road, or stretch of sidewalk. One thing I don't like doing on these jaunts is going back the way I came, but in many circumstances there's nothing I can do to avoid it, and this is a short revisit. other passenger on this bus now. These two off Clinton Street off of East Broadway. And this is as far back as I can get, I think. Haven't seen this before. Banana Quiche Lives Forever. With the brackets, it looks like some kind of conditional.
Yeah.
No dial tone. No dial tone here either. Couple of dead phones at Clinton and Cherry. They're dead, they're gone. Well, I had to skedaddle from that previous spot. I was quickly surrounded by dudes that were just standing there with nothing else to do. So I didn't have enough time to make my seemingly obligatory comment about being at the corner of Clinton and Cherry. But so obvious, right? By the way, my haircut's holding up pretty well, isn't it? to the famously ugly Verizon building is, at least for me, a guidepost that I think I'm headed in the direction I want to be going. I'm getting a little lost, but that's fine with me. In the meantime, here's this curious little sculpture. Well, not that little, but curious to me. I'm going to have to look this up later because I can't read the placard. Maybe there's another one. It's called Orbital something. And I will look this up later and annotate as appropriate. These two phones were still here last time I was down here, which was, I don't know, possibly a month ago. Probably longer. Pearl Street in St. James Place. And these two beauties are taken over. The ads are taken over by what is probably art in ad places. If it's not that group specifically, then it's probably inspired by them. I think I'd mentioned in an earlier bit that there was a hard deadline for removal of these phones, these sidewalk phones. That originally, that hard deadline was supposed to be today, June 19th. But obviously a lot of them are still here. Well, not a lot. This is only the second set that I've spotted today. But I later sort of gathered from other lines of inquiry that the June 19th thing was a deadline for something. It was for some kind of milestone in the removal of all these things, of all these New York City sidewalk street phones. But it wasn't the deadline. The deadline is actually December, but they're way ahead of schedule for that, as far as I can tell. It looks like the phones on Pearl Street, this one's at Pearl and Madison, these are the phones in the shadow of the maximum security Metropolitan Correctional Center. It looks like these phones are still hanging in there. This one has some barricades around it, and I'm not going to mess with this because there are police every which way around here. Although I really doubt they have these particular phones barricaded specifically for any reason. It just happens to be where the barricades ended up. But I look down the street and I see the other two, and those don't appear to be barricaded. See, from here I could get the number. I've gotten that number before. I'll have to get the other one. You know, to be honest, crossing over the barricade might look less suspicious than what I'm doing right now. The one that still survives in the shadow of the place affectionately known as Hell on Earth. To anybody that's been in there, Metropolitan Correctional Center. Like I would know. I don't, as far as I know, I don't know anyone that's been in there, but I know what I read and I believe it. Still has the Bell Atlantic logo on it. And that's the place. I'm being a little careful because there's a traffic cop over here on the other side of this phone enclosure, and he's just a traffic cop, but sometimes those guys get ideas of grandeur when they see somebody doing something that they don't get. Oh, go ahead. Who cares, right? At one time, the front runner for the upcoming mayoral primary. Now nobody really knows.
Excuse me, please.
This is why I could never be a politician. All this fake posing. Don't worry about me. I was going to go over to Staten Island today, but it's getting late and I'm tired. And I spent all day on Staten Island last week. I think I kind of had my fill for now. No downtime. No downtime. And then here's the device that hasn't worked in a long time. It had very slow advertising supported internet access. And it has a webcam on it, but I never got that to do anything. And it has a phone handset, which I never figured out the purpose of. It has some USB chargers and a power outlet. But they're all dead now, so I can't really give you a run through of these things. Nothing doing. No dial tone here. Let's go to the other side. Alright, we got dial tone. Last time, or not last time, but one of the last times I was here, I got yelled at for picking these ones up. And this was just after they had no dial tone. They had the garbage bags taken off of them. That was the way they prevented people from using these things, was they covered them with trash bags. No dial tone. And by the way, these orange screens are supposed to have ferry schedules on them. And there are USB chargers down there and a couple of AC outlets, but I don't know if they work. So far, only one. And I'm not being yelled at for doing this like I was another time. So there you have it. Only one with DT, and I'm going to try it, I guess. Get my quarters ready. Please deposit 50 cents for the next 15 minutes. There we go. We have it. Payphone Radio. Now I'm going to wash the fuck out of my hands for picking that thing up. This was an original inspiration of the old payphone radio, was I was going to find a place like this with a row of payphones, dial up the payphone radio from everyone and just let them hang, see what happened when people picked up and heard some strange dude on the other end pouring his heart out. But there aren't any rows of payphones like this anymore, so I transferred that plan to those LinkNYC things for a little while, at least as best I could. But my voice doesn't carry very well, so I had to find louder stuff. But I'll just let this one hang as a symbolic token of the original payphone radio inspiration. Here's yet another casualty. This one hasn't worked in a long time. 14th Street, Union Square. And this was a great phone for me, at least, because it was so close to where the subway buskers performed. It captured pretty good sound quality of that. There was another one over here. I think it was actually... I think it was here, but I don't see any trace of it, not that there has to be. But this was a great spot for a phone as far as scooping up or slurping up some of the music of the subway buskers because it was so close. But those days are gone. This is the same station, 14th Street, Union Square. TT wire. I thought this one used to work. Let's see. It has dial tone, so this does still have a pulse. Let's try. Oh my goodness. Here's the other one at 14th Street, Union Square. No dial tone here. Just to clarify a couple of things. The reason I said, oh my goodness, back there was the reason I got off the train here. There was this real crazy creep guy on the train. Came onto the train laughing at something, and then he sat down and took off his pants while he was sitting down and just started playing with himself. So I got up to leave, as did someone else who was sitting nearby. And the reason I said, oh my goodness, is that I looked over to my left and that guy was exiting the station. So he had gotten off the train same car, same time I did. Only I didn't get off the train at first. I moved ahead of one of the cars, as did the other woman. And I really felt bad for her because it seemed like he might have said something to her. I didn't catch that part. And I was going to say something to her, but I didn't want to come on like another creep. She had a service dog, and she didn't look blind or anything. I know some people could have service dogs for all kinds of reasons. And so I don't know if he said anything to her. I guess I'm glad I didn't ask. But here I am, not at my originally intended destination, but hoping not to see that guy again, even though he got out here too. I did see that guy one more time. He was working the room, if you will, working his charms. I don't even want to tell you what he was doing. It doesn't matter. I didn't actually, in case I didn't say this clearly, I didn't exit the train altogether on account of him. I moved up one car, and then I moved up again another car. And I did this at the same time as the young woman with the service dog. And I was about to ask her if he had said something to her or if she was all right. But like I said, I didn't want to look like another creep in line. Reason I got out at 14th Street was because I realized I'm on the wrong train anyway, so they're running the W trains on the Q line today for some reason. Maybe they do that more often than I think. But the Q line goes up to the Upper East Side, 92nd Street. The W doesn't usually do that, but it did today, so go figure, right? This is the Union Square Job Center. There are a couple of PTS phones inside. I don't think they work anymore. And I think the place already... Oh, no, it's not that late. The place should still be open if they're open at all. Not to make light of it, but that is pretty much what that dude was doing on the subway just now. Welcome to New York, right? Looks like the mighty old town is finally open again. It was still closed last time I was down here. That's good to see. I'm not supposed to be drinking, but I could sure use a beer right now. Haven't had a drink since just only Wednesday, but still. I should try to be good, shouldn't I? Then again, why? Don't have any real responsibilities in terms of staying on the righteous path, which isn't exactly the path I've been on lately anyway.
Full-blown asleep.
Well, this may be my last encounter with an authentic payphone. Let's get right to it, I guess. I guess I was here about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. 3rd and 33rd. 3rd and 33rd. Last time I was here, I think I said I would have had cash money. These phones were gone. I realized later I was thinking of the payphone outside of Bellevue on 1st Avenue. And that was the phone that stirred my fantasy, if you will, that Prey really did get her start at Bellevue, where she had the rumor or the legend was she had been, or part of the legend is that she had been a nurse at the psych ward there, and she lost her shit dealing with the patients, and she went all Jesus freak and started writing Pray and Love God and Love Jesus, go to church, read Bible, all that kind of stuff. And the legend was she etched it onto every single payphone in New York, and that's in the days when they were like maybe, well, in the 5 digits, in the tens or 20s of thousands. And her legacy has slowly but stubbornly, it's slowly faded, but it's stubbornly persisted. And I'm having trouble seeing the screen in front of me. Yeah, there she is. found a few prey specimens that might not actually be prey, that I just wanted to believe were prey, but that was early in my hunt for this stuff. Since then, I greatly refined my prey hunting skills, and I have no real doubt in my mind that this is the real thing.